Good morning, children. This video is for anyone who is in the pyramid group. Before we start with today's lesson, every lesson now there's going to be a starter. So on your task sheet, there are 15 questions on the 2 times table. So please can you pause this video and answer them first. Thank you very much. So for this week, we're going to be looking at division. And today we're just going to be looking at dividing numbers by 2. Now this is similar to a part of your lesson last week when we were halving, but that's when we look at an aspect called sharing. Sometimes we need to group quantities. So to begin with, we're going to do this question here. A question that will be similar on your task sheet. It says here, I have a number of pennies altogether. There are a number in each group and there are a number groups. Now, first off, we're going to look at how many pennies we've got all together. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10 pennies. Okay. Now when we're grouping, we want to, because we're divided by 2, we need to group these pennies into groups of 2. So we need to have, in each group, there needs to be 2 pennies. So we've got 2 in each group. So there are 2, 1, 2 in each group. Now we know this is an equal number. This can be divided by 2 because each group has the same amount of pennies in. So there's 2 in there, 2 in there, 2 in there, 2 in there, and 2 in there. Now the last question, start a statement, is how many groups are there? So we're going to count how many groups there are altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 5 groups. We now need to write this as a calculation. Now when we're writing the division sign, we're going to be using these numbers here to help us. When we've got the division sign, our largest number must be at the beginning. So 10 is our largest number. Now, we're going to use this number here to show there are 2 in each group. So 10 divided by 2 will equal 5. And now to write this as a multiplication, what we can do is we can just swap it over. So the 5 now becomes the first number in our calculation. The 2 stays where it is, and because we're multiplying, that means when we multiply, our answer is going to be the biggest number, so 10 will come here. So that's grouping. We're going to do another quick example of grouping. So it says here, group the squares into pairs. Now pairs is another way of saying 2. So you've got a pair of shoes, and when you have a pair of shoes, there's always 2 shoes. So we need to group the squares into pairs. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this picture and we're going to put circles round every time we've got 2. There was 1, 2, we circled. 1, 2, circle. 1, 2, circle. As you can see, we've got none remaining. There are 2 squares in each circle. So, yeah, there are how many squares all together? So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many groups are there? So how many groups? So this is a group because we've got 2 in one group. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to group this, and then it says there are how many in each group? So we've got 1, 2. Remember, we're dividing by 2 today. We're going to write these as our calculation. So we're going to do division first. So we take our largest number, 6, divided by, and we can take the next number here, which is 3. And then that will give us the answer of 2. When we do the multiplication, we just swap it round. So the 2 becomes our starting number. Multiply that by 3. And then when we multiply numbers together, the number that is our answer is going to be the biggest. So 6 is our biggest number. So that's grouping. The last question is about sharing. Now sharing is a bit different, and I'm going to, it says that in our question there are 16 sweets. Jack and Mary share them equally. How many sweets does each child get? Now here are our sweets. When it means by sharing, it means by giving, in this case, we're going to be halving a number between two. So we don't want to have groups of two like we did in previous. That's not what it's asking. It's asking us to take in a quantity and half that, because we're dividing by two, so equal. So we can have each person, so we've got Jack and Mary are going to have the same. So on the left hand side we can have Jack, and on the right hand side we can have Mary. So Jack gets one, Mary gets one. Jack, Mary, and we're going to keep swapping, keep moving these until we've got all of the cola bottles have gone and there is no cola bottles here, and each person has been given cola bottles equally. Now, as we said, we had 16 altogether. Because we split them half equally, we can see we've got the same amount here and the same amount here. So we need to see how many we've got in this group here. How many has Jack got? So we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now this is going to be our bar model. And because we shared them equally, the same number is going to be in this box. 8 plus 8 equals 16. To double check that we've got 8 in this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So grouping is when you've got groups of 2, and you will have multiple groups of 2. Sharing is when you've got 2 groups, in this case, and an amount that's been shared between 2 people. That's your video ended for today. Please rewatch it if you need to. Pause it at certain points. Please make sure you do the starter as well. That's really crucial. Good luck.